Good morning, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Mrs. Ellis and I work at the Highfields campus with Cedar Class. For our next Silver Linings lesson, we are going to be learning about the history of transport. So let's get started. The first known form of transport, other than walking, was found in 3500 BC. That is over 5,000 years ago. From this time, there is evidence of fixed wheel carts, although I have to say the wheels don't look very comfortable to ride on, and riverboats. But it wasn't until 400 years later, in 3100 BC, that the first wild horses were tamed to be used as transport, and it was another 1100 years before there is evidence of the first chariots being built in 2000 BC. From that point on, the use of horse-pulled vehicles was common until in 1662 AD, 3,662 years after the first chariot was built, the first horse-drawn public bus was invented. Throughout history, people had always dreamed of flying, and it was in 1783 that this dream was finally achieved with the first hot air balloon. Then, in 1801, the first steam-powered locomotive was run. This is the first time an engine was used to power a vehicle. Following this, 13 years later, the first steam-powered train was built. This led to railways being constructed all over the country and many more trains being built. However, it wasn't all environmentally bad, because in 1816, the first bicycle was invented. It looks a bit different from the bikes you ride today and probably not as comfortable. From 1900 onwards, transport really started to change. First, the Wright brothers invented the first motor-driven aircraft in 1903. Then, in 1908, the first commercially available motor cars were built. In 1912, diesel trains were invented. Then in 1935, the first passenger plane flew. In 1942, the first rocket took flight, and the first supersonic flight took place in 1947. Imagine flying quicker than it takes for sound to reach your ears. In 1981, the first space shuttle lifted off, and throughout these years, cars were getting bigger and faster and more affordable, until in 2007, 77% of households owned a car, and people started to talk about the impact of this on the environment. This led to lots of research being done until in 2010, the first modern electric car was invented. So, your task is to create a timeline showing the history of transport. I've emailed you a PDF with pictures to help you. I then want you to answer the question below. What are the positive and negative things about the change in transport through history? Can you write at least 5 positive things and 5 negative things about the change? And do you think it is a positive thing overall or a negative thing?